So chapter 2, as we all know, is the summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita, where Bhagwan Krishna is trying to explain the entire Gyan to Arjun. So there is a little bit of Karma Yoga in it, there is a little bit of Gyan Yoga in it, there is a little bit of Bhakti Yoga in it. In fact, there is just about everything in it, and so it's one of the largest chapters in the Bhagavad Gita. But as we all know through personal experience, it is impossible to grasp all this information in one shot. So in spite of Bhagwan Krishna giving everything to Arjun in the second chapter, Arjun is no more wiser at the end of the chapter than he was in the beginning. And so the rest of the Bhagavad Gita is an explanation of chapter 2. So right now we are on that part of the Updesh where Bhagwan Krishna is talking about Karma Yoga. Why should he be talking about Karma Yoga? Why should he be talking about Karma Yoga? Arjun is confused. He doesn't want to do his karma. He doesn't want to do his dharma. And dharma consists of doing your allotted duty, allotted package with which you are born. So he has to explain the importance of doing his dharma by doing his allotted karma. And so to encourage him to see his action that he is about to do in the right light, in the right spirit, Bhagwan Krishna is telling him about Karma Yoga. So why do you think that Bhagwan Krishna didn't know that Arjun would be confused on the battlefield? Was it a surprise to Bhagwan Krishna? He knew, he must know. He is Bhagwan, he has to know that at some stage Arjun is going to get cold feet. Then why did he not tell Arjun all this earlier? Why did he have to wait till the battle is about to be started, the conches are blowing? He could have told him, given him one private tutorial in the camp in the night before. Why did he wait to be in the middle of the battlefield?
He won't take it. He won't accept it.
By experience, he can learn it fast.
But he has not had any experience right now.
Because the emotions that get stirred up in the live scene probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Arjuna asked in the battlefield, like, now what do I do? And then.
Very nice. First, the Shishya has to ask. When the Shishya asks, they know that they are ready to receive. Otherwise, and you should remember all this in Vyavahar also, till somebody asks the question, don't thapkao your gyan on them. Okay? It irritates the person to no end. Right? So, the first thing is the Shishya should be ready. And there is a great other reason also. This was a crucial time for Bhagwan Krishna to tell this Updesh to Arjun. He had to be in that space where he can see clearly the two forces which are gathered in the war. He had to see the Kauravas on one side and he had to see the Pandavas on the other side. And you know that the entire Bhagavad Gita is symbolic. So the Kauravas are your own negative tendencies in your mind. The Pandavas are your own positive nature, your own positive tendencies. And when you are on the horns of a dilemma, when you are faced with a dilemma of what to do, the most important thing is to stand in the middle and observe both. This is my negative enemy in my mind, in my own mind. This is the positive strength that I have in my own self. You need to be there in the middle of both of them so you can evaluate it and take a deliberate decision, not an impulsive decision, not a decision out of fear, or not a decision out of confusion or impulse. You should be able to see both sides of the confusion clearly. Wait there till you have evaluated it and then take your decision. It was also important for Arjun not to fight this war to regain a kingdom, because that's what the fight was, right? To regain the kingdom. And he would have had to destroy his relatives, his Guru Bhai, his Guru himself. He would have to vanquish them to get what? A kingdom. And that would have incurred karma. Why?
Because he was doing it out of personal motive.
Personal motive. There was a personal motive over there. So this is the importance of Arjun, Bhagwan Krishna telling Arjun, you are not fighting this war to get a kingdom. You are fighting it because it is your dharma as a Kshatriya to fight this war. Which is your dharma to destroy not your relatives, not your guru, not your brothers, not anyone. It is your dharma to destroy a dharma. And out of that, this is where you are right now. And until you can face the situation head on, unless you can face the situation and see it for it, whatever it is, that glad acceptance should come. And then from there, you have to make your decision. So, according to Sanatan Dharma, when you do an action with 100% focus on it, when you do an action after dedicating it to a higher cause, not a personal cause, not a selfish motive, but a higher motive, when you do an action without expecting any result, any particular result from that action, that means you're not expecting a particular fruit of that action, then that action does not incur karma. Then that action actually does not only not incur further karma, but it also helps with inner purification. It also helps you to remove your mal, your vikshep, which are your obstacles in your spiritual growth. So, I know that when I first read the Bhagavad Gita and I hadn't studied it as yet, and I hadn't had it explained to me yet, and I didn't understand it so clearly, and I know that this same doubt which I had then may be in the minds of many of you here. That how is it possible to do any action without expecting a result? Because you're doing an action only to get a result. So how can I do an action and not expect to have any result from it? It's not possible. And it seems so. It seems so in the beginning. And therefore what all you can do is experiment with it. I experimented with it. Many people here have experimented with it. And they have found that when they are doing the action without expecting any particular fruit of action, not expecting any particular result, an entire new mindset, an entire new energy, an entire new kind of a pathway opens up whereby you do the action and your highest good is taken care of. So it is needed to be experimented before throwing it in the dustbin that this kind of thing cannot work. How can I do an action and not expect a result from it? Another obstacle in this Karma Yoga thing is that people are paralyzed by the fear of failure. If I do this, will I succeed? If I do that, will I be able to do it properly? Will I be able to, there are all kinds of hesitations, trepidations, and with that, you are not obviously able to dedicate yourself completely to the action, and your own thinking that I might fail causes you to fail. So we need to stop this wasteful expenditure of energy. This wasteful expenditure of energy, which is worrying about the past and worrying about the future also. Both worries need to be dropped, and you need to focus on doing what you have to do, dedicating it to a higher energy. So let's understand this fruit of action, because again and again in Bhagavad Gita this word fruit of action will come. Action happens when? Present. Action is happening in the present. And this action, you may think, okay, I have read this and now I have finished reading it. Hiten, keep the door open only. I am reading this book. Now I finished reading this book. I have put it down. So the action of reading is over. But the action is never over till the result has been received. And every action has to have a result. There cannot be an action which has no result. And this action will keep continuing at another level till the result of that action has been experienced. And this result may come anytime in the future. It can happen immediately also. The result can come of an action in 5 minutes also. The result of the action can come 5 years later also. And I will go so far to say it might come 5 lifetimes also later. So till the result of the action has not been received, your action is not yet over. Okay? So what is happening is that we need to do the action in the present. We need to do the action with 100% focus, single pointed focus in the present. But when we are thinking of the result, half our energy is going in the future. Therefore, we are definitely not doing our action with 100% focus. Because unconsciously, subconsciously or consciously, half our energy or more is already wasted in thinking of the future. And so, as you think, so you get. And you're thinking of that in a worrying way, maybe it will not happen. What are you energizing? Maybe it will not happen. Universe doesn't understand maybe. Will not happen.
Understands.
Will happen. Understood? So this fruit of action, as you are already doing the action in the present, you have already set up the failure in the future. And that's the fruit of this action is what you receive. So we have to be very careful that when we are doing any action, what is my mindset? What is my thinking? And that is exactly what Karma Yoga is all about. Karma Yoga is not about doing anything. Karma Yoga is about how you are doing anything. Karma Yoga is not an action. Karma Yoga is not doing seva. Karma Yoga is not being a volunteer in some organization. Karma Yoga is about doing any action in your own home, in anywhere you're doing, but how you are doing it. It is more a mental thing than a physical action. Alright, let's go ahead with verse number 48 because we have already studied till 47.